Good morning. Hi, it's Rick from Airman Family Readiness Center, and this morning we're going to talk about thrift savings plans. Right? Because for many of us, that's going to be a huge part of our retirement. First, let's talk about what does your retirement look like? What do you think you're going to be doing? Where are you going to be living? What lifestyle are you going to be able to enjoy? What you do with your money, how you prepare the money that you set aside for retirement, how you make it grow, it is going to really determine what that retirement is going to look like. Right? So what we're going to talk about is basically retirement today. TSP and your money and how you're going to get there. First of all, let's talk about the difference in retirement plans. There's two basic retirement plans in the country today. A defined benefit plan, where you work for your employer for a number of years. After those years, 20, 30, whatever, they're going to get you a paycheck every month. As you can see from the slide, only 17% of non-governmental employers, right, excluding union employees, actually offer a pension plan. If you're a government employee, if you're a DOD, active duty military member, we all have a retirement plan. But for a lot of us, we also have what's called a defined contribution plan, where we put in money and our employer may or may not match those funds. And at the end of the day, at the end of 20, 30, 40 years of working for that employer, what we have for retirement is going to be in that fund for us to draw out and live on in retirement. So TSP is a big form of these plans. Out in the civilian community, they talk about 401ks, simple IRS, SEPs, and all that, right? But basically what we're talking about here is a defined contribution plan under the IRS rules. Let's talk about my little three-legged retirement stool here. How many of us know for sure that we're going to get a pension? That we've worked for our employer for enough years to be able to earn a pension. When I do this briefing in a room full of young enlisted people, 18 to 25, right, the only hand that ever goes up in the room is mine. Why? Because I've already done it. Right? I've already gotten 24 years of active duty military. I've already earned my time for a civil service pension, right? So what happens if that goes away? Right? Now you're left with your TSP or your 401k and whatever you might be able to attain from Social Security, right? How many people think Social Security is going to be there in their old age? If you ask a room to 18 to 25-year-olds, right, you get the same response. Not much. As a matter of fact, I read on the news yesterday that this trust fund for Social Security was going to start to be insolvent in the year 2033. That's 13 years from now. Right? So that's not a good sign. Of course, they could always raise the age from currently where it's 67 to 70 or 72, or they could raise the tax, or they'll just cut the benefit. Currently, if they do nothing, Social Security checks will be cut by 25%. So finally, we're left with whatever you can do for yourself in the form of through a savings plan or a corporate 401k account. But today, we're just going to talk about TSP. Now, what you want to do with this money is make it grow. Till finally, you have this nice big pot of money that you can rely on in your retirement. Right? So TSP contribution, a little different from civilians and military, right? Because military get more than one type of pay, right? But we're both eligible for a TSP account if we're a government employee. Or for military pay that's eligible, it's all your forms of pay. Basic pay, special pay, incentive pay, and bonus pay, right? Remember, your BAS, your BAH, their allowances, they're not paid. Now, you can put money in up to certain limits. Right? For military, it's 1 to 77% of basic pay. It can be made by payroll deduction through my pay, We're all subject, military and civilians, to the annual elective deferral limit of $19,500 for the year 2020, and that normally goes up year after year, right? Us old people are entitled to a catch-up contribution if we're over 50 of $6,500 a year, right? And you can choose the tax treatments on your money, either traditional or Roth, and we'll get to those a little bit later. And remember, if you're getting matching funds, don't max out early prior to December, because you'll miss out on those matching funds for the month of December. All right, so traditional contributions, they sound like a good idea. Right? I put my money in, no taxes are applied on the way in. All right, so there's immediate benefit there. However, the money that I put in and any earnings on that money is going to be subject to taxation on the way out. For a lot of young people, that just doesn't make sense. Then we have option B here, Roth contributions, where I go ahead and pay the tax man up front, put it in my TSP account, let it grow, and then when I withdraw those Roth contributions, they come out tax-free in my retirement, not only just the contributions, but all the growth. So I like to do a little thing with my hand when I talk about this. I'm doing like one-on-one appointments. So let's do that this morning. Right? Say I'm a young airman and I'm putting in like 10% of my base pay. All right, for an E3, that's about $200 a month, all right, roughly. But we'll just kind of swag this at $2,000 a year, right? Because it makes the math simple for me, because I'm a simple kind of person. So if I'm 18, 19, 20 years old, all right, at age 60, when I'm eligible to take this money out, my money's going to double about 5 times. So that's 2,000, all right, going in, doubling once, 4, then 8, 16, 32, $64,000. If I'm 20 years old and I'm putting this money in here, all right, do I want to pay the taxes on the $2,000 going in? Or my tax bill is only like around 8%? Or do I want to pay it over here when it's 64 grand and the money coming out is taxed at 20%? Seems like a no-brainer, right? So we want to go with the Roth contributions. So here's a little graphic on that, and you can see, right? My airman, if he puts the money in traditional, he's got $200 more in his pocket. Right? At the end of the year, right? Put in a Roth TSP, you're going to pay a little bit more in tax, right? But when it comes out in your old age, you're going to have a big chunk of money and you're going to pay no taxes on it whatsoever. So you really want to go with the Roth. So the 2 big tax breaks involved in all these retirement accounts are these. There's a tax deferral. When the money is in there and it's growing year after year, you know, the stock market goes up 10%, you know, on average every year, you know, this is a bad year, okay. So early in the year, we might even recover. Last year, the market went up 31%. So it averages out year over year, right? So your money's going to grow, right? Every time it grows, it just gets reinvested in your account. It continues to compound. It continues to grow, right? And there's no taxes due. Right? You're also eligible, depending on your income, for a tax credit just for putting the money in. All right, it's called a saver's credit. Every year they've done this. I mean, they may phase it out. Who knows what's going to happen in the next round of budget negotiations, whatever else. But you can see, all right, a young married airman, all right, if he puts in $2,000, because that's the limit on his credit, right, he gets half of that money back. $1,000 as a tax credit that goes right against his tax bill, right, which could eliminate his tax bill for the year completely. And then everybody, you know, that's come on active duty since January 2018 is automatically enrolled in TSP. They start off the paperwork and basic training. All right, the default contribution is 3%. All right, and it starts 60 days after they come on active duty. All my young people, beware. All right, When they started your contributions in the TSP under the blended retirement system, they started as traditional contributions. You want to be able to get in that system and make that change, switch it over to Roth. All right. In 2021, the default enrollment is going to go to 5%. If you decide you can't afford to put money in TSP and you're in blended retirement system, you can stop it, right? But you're automatically going to be enrolled January 1st every year. And in 2021, sorry about the typo, that was the last minute ad this morning, it's going to go to 5%. You can change your contributions anytime online. We're going to show screenshots of that here coming up. All right. 1% automatic contribution kicks in 60 days. And if you're a brand new airman starting after 1 January 2018, you won't get the full match until your 25th month of service is complete. All right. Where does the money go? All right. There's some contribution allocation defaults. As they've changed this process, they've also changed where your money goes. Right? So if you're a brand new airman or even a civilian employee, right, and you're new to TSP, your money is going to go into the age-appropriate life cycle fund. If you're an old high 3 system and you never switched over, and you decide, well, you know, I heard about that TSP thing, but I want to get into it now, your default contribution is going to go into the G fund. So you want to make sure that you actually log into your account. We'll show you some stuff about that. Fix your allocations to make the money go where you want to, because the G fund is a great thing. It's a savings account. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but it's not going to grow your money. Here's an example of why you want to get started early in your career while you're on active duty or even in civil service. Right? If I've got an 18-year-old who invests 10% of his paycheck in TSP over a 20-year Air Force career, right? Making staff sergeant in 6 years, tech sergeant in 12 years, and retiring at 20 years as a tech sergeant, he's got a balance in his TSP account the day he retires at $158,000. His total investment in the account, $77,000. He lets it sit there and grow after retirement, assuming an 8% return rate on his money. At age 62, the minimum retirement age for Social Security, he'll have $1 million tax-free. If he waits the full retirement age for Social Security, which is now 67, he'll have $1.5 million. So our hypothetical airman, here's basically what his contributions were over time. Year 1, he put in $22.60 or $188 a month, and a single airman living in a dorm can afford that. Year 5, all right, $3,000 as an E4, making significantly more money every year. Year 10 is an E5, $4,000. Year 15 is a tech sergeant, making $4,700 going into TSP, or $394 a month. That's all based on the 2019 pay chart. This year's gone up a little bit more. All right. So say you're like an airman, you've automatically been enrolled and blended, but you really don't want to stay in the Air Force. Right? It still makes sense to put the money in TSP and do the minimum to get the match. So an 18-year-old airman put in 5%, right, and getting the 5% match at his 25th month. All right, I'm not assuming you get that right away. All right, during a 4-year enlistment, would have $200,000 at age 60, based off $4,621 in contribution. Off a 4-year enlistment, just using TSP the smart way. Right? If it's a 6-year enlistee doing the same thing, it's $300,000 at age 60. Right? And doing the minimum, the 5% for the same airman under blended, right, over a 20-year career, retiring, same deal, staff sergeant at 12, staff sergeant at 6, tech sergeant at 12, or retiring at 20 would have $900,000 at age 60 off of $40,000 in contributions in the TSP account. There's a lot of bang for your buck with using BRS and getting that matching money. So where do you go to sign up, right? You can sign up, change your contributions through MyPay. If you're military, You can do it through GRB if you're a civilian. Right? You control what's going in, whether you're doing traditional or Roth, percentage of pay, dollar amount. If you're a civilian, you have that option. Right? And TSP is going to give you a mailing address, right, or send you a mailing to your mailing address, a new account number. So you're going to provide them with a mailing address to send your correspondence to. They'll send you letters, separate mailings, one for the accountant, one for a temporary passport. Then you can log into TSP and manage your account. Right? The two main ways you do that are through contribution allocations, where you send the new money to, and an asset allocation where you can do an interfund transfer, move money around from fund to fund. All right. So for active duty military, because a lot of you may have to go in and make some changes to your account based on what I just said. All right, you go out to MyPay, log in, right, click on the TSP link over on the side. Right, this screen is going to pop up. You click on the little pencil here, edit, make changes. It'll show you your current contributions, traditional and Roth, base pay, special pay, incentive pay, and bonus pay. Right? So you can go in, you can stop those, you can modify those, you can just type over, right? Update your contribution and elections. Put in a mailing address, right? Or update the mailing address so you have the correct one for TSP to send things to. Click continue. Gives you a review screen. Click submit. All right, it'll tell you when this transaction is going to be effective with MyPay. Gives you one more chance to look it all over. You click finish. If you're happy with what you did, you do not click the yellow yes button. That's a go back and redo button. All right. So it says, do you want to override the above pending transaction? All right. So if you don't want to change things, leave that alone, and you're good to go. Right? All right. The next screen, there's a little help button on it. Right? So if you click the help button for TSP, it's going to give you some resources and information, the phone number for the Thrift line to reach out for help. Right? And here's what the help screen looks like. So, maximizing TSP's growth potential, right? You've got one risk-free option, the G fund. Guaranteed never to lose money in the G fund. But if it's guaranteed to never lose money, it's not guaranteed to make a lot either. It's got a special interest rate that's based on a deal that they have with the Department of Treasury, which currently cut their loan rate to 0%. So you know that's going to impact your return rate on your G fund. Then there's 4 broad index funds, which we'll go into. The F fund, which is corporate bonds. The C fund, which is the S&P 500 index. The S fund, which is small caps and the Dow Jones. And the I fund is international. And there's 5 combinations of funds called life cycle funds that are allocated based on optimization of the market and set percentages based on a timeline to retirement. We'll talk about those. The thing you need to know about these are index funds. They're passively managed. The market goes up, they go up, but it's a big pool of assets. It's not like 1 or 2 individual stocks. All right? And you're going to be a buy and hold investor here. You're not trying to day trade with this money. You're just trying to invest for the long term. Who controls this? Let's get back to that. You control how much is going in. You control where it goes. So it's all about choices you make. You choose when you begin to contribute. Hopefully, you're already doing it. If not, it's never too late to get started. You choose how much you're going to put in, right, and where it goes. All right, so you're influencing the performance through your choice of asset allocations and strategy you're using, and you have no control over the charges and fees, but they're smaller than any other place you can think of to invest your money. All right, a quick note on savings versus investing. All right. Savings, I'm putting my money in a savings account, I'm sticking it under a mattress, right? I'm putting it wherever, right? The whole point to saving is to have that money immediately to spend for emergencies, for vacations, things like that. So we all have a need to save, right? But we also need to become investors. And TSP provides us an easy way to be an investor, right? We are trading a little bit guarantee of safety for the risk and associated rewards to accumulate wealth, but the average stock-based mutual fund returns 8%. Over the course of time, even if there's a bad year, it's going to be followed by good years, and I'm going to get that 8% average return. So to get where I want to for retirement, I need to be a saver to protect my current needs now, but I also need to be an investor. All right, so let's get into the funds. All right, the G fund. All right, investment objective here is to produce a positive rate of return higher than inflation. All right, inflation's pretty tame right now, 2, maybe 3%. All right, the G fund return rate's down around 2%. This isn't here to grow money; it's to protect money that's already grown. If you're 61 years old like me, you might want to have some money in a G fund because you've had decades to grow it, and now you maybe want to protect some of that money you already have. If I'm 18, 19, 20 years old, G fund's not my favorite place to be. I want to be an investor. I want to take those risks, and I want to make that money. The F fund, right? F fund has good years, it has bad years, all right? But the whole goal here is to make a little bit more money than a G. But there's also some risk involved because not all these debts are going to be great. You know, you're buying up debts, you know, loans to corporations, mortgage-backed securities, and all this kind of stuff. But from year to year, from month to month, it's going to vary. But over time, it's actually made a little bit more than the G fund. Remember, we're talking long term, you know, based on whatever our age is potentially. We want to grow some money. Not a lot of risk, but there is some to it. Then you have the C fund, right, which is basically your S&P 500 index. And we all know what's happened to the stock market indexes lately. I'm kind of an odd guy. When they go down, I get excited because now stocks are on sale. If I'm 18, 19, 20 years old, so even in my 30s and my 40s, I should be excited when the market goes down. Because as I'm adding money to my retirement account, I'm being able to buy more with less money. So this is a great opportunity here, right? So my money is going to ebb and flow with the market in the C fund. Likewise with the S, right? S fund's just a bit different basket of stock, right? It's a little more volatile than the C fund, right? C fund's 80% of the U.S. economy. This is 20% of the U.S. economy, right? Small cap stocks, they're not the big, massive companies like the S&P. So when the market goes down, they react to market changes a little more rapidly. You're going to lose money quicker, but when the market booms, they're also going to make money faster. So you want to be in both the big stocks and the small stocks to be able to grow your money effectively. And then there's also the international fund, the Morgan Stanley International Index. All right? It's established stock markets. It's not like emerging markets like Cambodia, Vietnam, things like that. You know, Russia, India, or any of that. It's in like your big westernized European countries, Japan, Australia, you know, those kind of countries. So, yeah, now might be a good time to be investing in those too. Everything's kind of on sale. So why invest in stocks? Right? Because over the long term, that's where you're going to get the most growth for your money. Right? Bad luck or bad timing can create temporary losses, right? But that's on paper. You only lose when you sell. Diversification, a long-term approach, reduces those risks. Right? If you don't know how to diversify, you can always use a life cycle fund to do it for you. And TSP uses the stock-based funds to provide that diversification. Right? There's more than one. When TSP started, there was only one stock fund. TSP also provides life cycle funds, and they automatically manage your account based on your age of retirement. And they automatically adjust every 3 months, every quarter. There's a scary stock market chart, right? If you're looking here. So here's the meltdown from 2008, 2009. You can see the S&P 500 index was at 1,400. It's at like 2,800 today. After a big boom, big run up afterwards, right? So say we're in a little notch like this. We're going to drop down in February and March, right? Here we are in March, April, right? Maybe into June, July. Maybe this is a fall. Maybe this is December, January next year. That's a hypothetical, but if you look at the market over the long term, right? Here's where Rick was born. Here's where we are today, and you can see the market has gone through this on a regular basis. There's some little blips in here too, but because the numbers were so small, it doesn't look that big now. Right? Here's 9/11, the dot-com bubble, and everything else. When stocks went down to 2003. Here's where we recovered to 08. Here's where we crashed again. Right? There's a couple little blips along the way. So as you can see, this isn't an uncommon occurrence. Crises happen, the market goes down, and the market recovers. It's happened throughout my lifetime, and it's going to happen throughout yours. There's nothing to get overly ramped up about. If you don't want to decide, oh man, that's a lot of work. How do I figure out how much goes in the G fund? How much should I put in the F fund, the C, the S, the I? You've got the life cycle fund. They automatically do it based on your age to retirement. All right? So it's broken up like this right now, right? You have 5 L funds. You have an L income fund, all right, for us old geezers who are already in or about to retire. You have a 2020 fund for folks going to retire between 2015 and 2024. The 2030, 2040, 2050. And in every quarter, they move the money around for target percentages. So let's look at a few of those. Here's the 2050 as of April of this year. As you can see, we've got 40% in the C, 13% in the S, 28% in the I, and 18% between the G and the F. It's pretty aggressive. Every 3 months, every quarter, they're going to take a little bit of money out of stocks and they're going to put it over here in the G and the F. And in 10 years, that 2050 is going to look like the 2040. I got a little bit more money in the G and F because now we've made money over a decade. All right? So we're going to park a little bit off to the side and protect it. But we still have the vast amount of money in our C, our S, and our I. We want to grow it some more. Right? Get it bigger for retirement. Now we're getting a little closer to retirement. Right? Another 10 years down the road. All right? So here's for people that were born in 65 and 75, going to retire between 2025 and 2034. But this is basically what your L2050 fund is going to look like 20 years from now. All right, a little bit more in the G, a little bit more in the F, but you still have a lot of it in the C, the S, and the I. All right? Wow, now we're really getting close to retirement here. All right? A couple of years ago, look at this one, 2015 and 2024. All right? So people my age, 70% in the G, all right? 5% in F, 25% in the stock-based fund. Try to grow that money a little bit. For folks who are already retired a few years ago, there's an L income fund. We're going to jump straight to percentages on it. 74% in the G. You got your C, your S, your I, 6% in the F. Now this is static. All these funds, right, including this L income fund, but there's a big swing in the stock market. Every day, at the end of the day, TSB maintains these target percentages. So on those crazy days we had last month, when the Dow Jones Industrial dropped like 1,900 points in a single day, right? That night, TSP is taking money out of G and putting it back in F, C, S, and I to try to grow your money some more. Market jumps back up another 2,000 points on the Dow. Now they're taking money out of here, parking it back in G. They can make a little money as the market's doing all these ebbs and flows, too. All right, let's talk about how to manage your TSP account online. 2 ways you do it: contribution allocations, interfund transfers. So you got to go to the TSP website, log on. You got to have your account number or a custom user ID that you set up with your profile and a password. If you don't have that, they've got some tips here. You get a link, reset your password online, but we'll talk about some tips that we have for you as well. So let's say you log into your account. First thing you're going to see is your account balance overview. How much money do I have in my account? What's my account distribution? What funds is it in? All right. Here's how I'm putting the money in. This is the new money, contribution allocation. This is the money that's already there. Right? So every time they get a deposit, they're going to break it up this way here. You can review your funds, where your money's at, how much dollar amount, how many shares. So you want to move money around from fund to fund. You're going to do an interfund transfer. All right, so you click on the interfund transfer button. You say, well, I don't want all this money in the G fund anymore. I might want to move it over to the L2050, or maybe I'll put it in a stock-based fund. Change your percentages as long as they have to 100, but continue. All right. So you don't want to mess around with where the money's at, but you just want to change your new contributions and new money going in. So what you can do is you can set that up by percentage again, all right, and hit continue. And then when they get the next deposit into your account, they'll put it in the way you want it to go. I don't know if you noticed, but these two screens are eerily similar. So when you go in and make changes, I mean, they both say future contributions right here. Pay attention to what's at the top of the screen. What transaction are you actually doing? I've had a lot of customers that did one or the other, thinking they set it up the way they wanted, and then they didn't. I had a customer one time came in, he moved all his money out of the G into a life cycle fund. Right, he did an interfund transfer, he got it taken care of. Right. However, he never did a contribution allocation change, and for 8 years, all the contributions he had going in went right into the G fund. And he missed out on like the biggest part of that 2008 to 2020 stock market recovery. All right. Need help with your TSP? You want some tips, some tools, all that kind of stuff? TSP actually has a YouTube channel out there. Don't try getting it from the base. All right? It's blocked right now. But if you're at home, they got videos on everything there is to do with your TSP account. How to do contribution allocations, interfund transfers, reset your password, all that kind of stuff. If you were signed up for TSP and basic training and you don't know how to get your account number, your password, all that kind of information, get with us here at Airman Family Readiness Center. We actually have a tip sheet, step-by-step, how to get that information, get your password reset, and actually get access to your account. And remember, we at Airman Family Readiness are here for you. Just give us a call, 987-2667. You got any questions online? All right, well, thank you all. Have a good day.